Former President Barack Obama just finished speaking on the stage behind me, encouraging voters to get out and vote as soon as possible, naming reproductive issues, democracy, voting rights, and healthcare all at stake. We'll see how all of that pans out in the election on the 8th. This tree was planted just about an hour ago. And it'll join the ranks of these larger oak trees here, which NU Landscaping tells me are around 150 years old. We can bet Biden's scriptwriters were busy rewriting this past week after Russia invaded Ukraine. And if you'd like, toast. Okay, maybe leave out the butane torch part if you're in a dorm. It's the most amount of homicides Evanston has seen in over a decade. Last night at around 7:15 p.m., Evanston Police Department responded to 5 shooting victims, 4 of which were between the ages of 14 and 18. 2 boys and 2 girls were transported from the gas station behind me to local Evanston hospitals for care. Activists, civil rights groups, and the family of Martin Luther King Jr. marched in Washington on Monday, demanding Congress pass laws to protect voting rights.
We need you to use that same energy to ensure that all Americans have the unencumbered right to vote.
Yes, sir. Yes,
sir. The King family says it's a day of action, encouraging support for the John Lewis Voting Rights Act bill.
We are going to be a great generation.
The act would require states with histories of voting discrimination to receive approval from the federal government before changing voting rules.
The one thing that makes our democracy the strongest is when everybody gets the opportunity to participate.
One group, Unpack, says over 100 of its members are on day 5 of a hunger strike to support the John Lewis Act in Senate.
It is past due time that the legacy that Dr. Martin Luther King fought for actually exists, and a lot of that starts with ensuring that the Freedom to Vote John Lewis Act passes.
We're here at the Martin Luther King Day Peace Walk. Speakers have made it clear their demands for voting rights and DC statehood. We'll see how that voting rights bill does next in the Senate. Following the walk, the King family spoke, pushing for the filibuster to be removed in order to pass the Voting Rights Act.
The filibuster is an instrument of division.
Martin Luther King III says words aren't enough. Legislation is the answer.
Even though it may be true that the law cannot make a man love me, it can restrain him from lynching me.
Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi says the filibuster is just a custom that can be done without.
We cannot confine our democracy to what might be bipartisanly possible.
The Senate is expected to begin voting on the bill on Tuesday. Vanessa Kjeldsen, Medill News Service. After Mia Neal's 2021 Oscar speech, Evanston made headlines.
He graduated from Northwestern University at a time that they did not allow blacks to stay on campus, so he stayed at the YMCA.
To some, that YMCA on Emerson Street
was the soul of the black community.
Today, it's a high-rise.
Evanston has this unique ability to try and paint itself as like, oh, we're this great progressive city that does all these wonderful things. And then when you dig deep into it, it's like, oh no, there's a lot of the same problems as the rest of the country.
McGaw YMCA membership was often denied to black residents. In 1914, McGaw YMCA helped construct a second Y here on Emerson Street for black Evanstonians. Robinson says it was a way to keep black residents away from McGaw.
Supposedly separate but equal, but it's not equal.
Yet the Emerson Y persisted.
1 in 5 African-American boys was part of the Emerson Street Branch YMCA.
The Emerson Y hosted everything from fashion shows to swim lessons to Nat King Cole.
And I asked him, well, how much did it cost? He said, oh, he charged us $4. Yeah.
Through the height of the Jim Crow era, Robinson says the Emerson Y was like home.
I think that was the strongest impact that it had for the community. We were here and we were treated as family.
Then the National YMCA demanded desegregation.
Evanston waited for 15 years before they did that.
Changing policy didn't change attitudes.
The teen hangout room was called the plantation room. It looked like a plantation. I don't think that's really inviting. One of the fundraisers was Aunt Jemima pancake breakfast. They used to do plays in blackface.
In 1969, citing the completion of its desegregation program, the McGaw Y closed the Emerson branch. The Black community resisted, trying to buy the Y back.
The McGaw YMCA didn't want to sell to the Black community. They said they'll rather tear it down and turn it into a parking lot.
Today, the McGaw Y still stands, but looks different on the inside. Monique Parsons, who wouldn't have been granted a McGaw membership just about 60 years ago, is now the first Black woman president.
If it were not for the Emerson Street YMCA and all the richness and the legacy and the stories and the wonderful people that came out of the experiences of Emerson Y, I would not be here.
But Parsons says there's still work to do.
I'm committed to make sure that this is a place that they feel comfortable in, that their children feel comfortable in, that their children's children feel comfortable in.
Generations of progress.
So I want to say thank you to our ancestors who put the work in, were denied, but never gave up.
Evanston's Y, a symbol of the past and the future. Vanessa Kjeldsen, Northwestern News Network.